What's up, everybody? This is Scott. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, see if I can lock the Jeep. There we go. In today's video, this is going to be a side-by-side comparison of the Pixel 6 Pro versus the iPhone 13 Pro. Side-by-side video and photo comparison, so it should be a fairly quick video. Everything that you see and hear is shot directly on either one of these phones. I'm using the rear-facing camera right now on both of them, 4K, 30 frames a second. This is the stabilization. This is what the microphones sound like. Make a quick pan back the other way. So from a 4K 30 frames a second perspective, this is exactly what you could expect. The iPhone 13 comes with that new cinematic mode, which we're definitely going to talk about here in a little bit. I'll do side-by-side comparison of the front-facing cameras as well. Both of those also do 4K 30 frames a second, but the iPhone does 4K 60 frames a second. If you do the cinematic mode with the iPhone, you can expect 1080 at 30 frames a second for the cinematic, but we'll talk about that and I'll do some side-by-side comparisons of that as well. But so far, which one do you think is kind of the winner in terms of stabilization as well as the way that it looks? Now, one thing that I will say, it is Ohio after all. The white clouds in the sky is exactly what it looks like. So these are not blown out by any stretch of the imagination. This is actually just how crappy it looks like in Ohio right now. Now this is 4K 60 frames per second out of both of these phones. So this is the smoothness that you would expect out of definitely the iPhone, but also some really cool smoothness out of the Google Pixel 6 Pro for sure. Both of these phones, the Pixel 6 Pro comes in at $899 at the time of this recording of this video, but there's been a ton of deals as it relates to, Black Friday, the day after Christmas and things like that, so you might be able to get a little bit cheaper. And this particular iPhone that I have comes in at $1099, so $200 more. Needless to say, from a video perspective, and I tweeted about this a little bit earlier, and I put this tweet up right now so you can see it, but this particular tweet still holds true for me. Thank you, Bird. Thank you for that. Awesome. Perfect. This particular video holds true for me. I still think that Google is a little bit far away in terms of the video on the Pixel 6 Pro as it relates to the iPhone 13 Pro. Let's do a quick pan at 4K 60 frames per second and you can kind of see exactly what this looks like. Both look pretty good, but I gotta tell you, I gotta give it to the iPhone 13 Pro in terms of the video department as it relates to this. So you can also, let's see if we can talk about zooming in. Right now, 4K 60 frames a second, I can only do the zoom in. I don't have access to the ultra wide. Let's go back to the regular wide. Let's do this on the iPhone. Zoom in on both. So one is a 3x zoom in on the iPhone 13 Pro. The other one is a 2x zoom in on the telephoto as it relates to the Pixel 6 Pro. Go back to the regular wide. But we don't have access to the ultra wide on the Pixel 6 Pro when you're 4K 60 frames a second. From a 4K 60 perspective, right now we're on the wide angle lens. Let's look at the goal right there in front of us. And if I want to, I can zoom out to 3x on the fly 4K 60 with the iPhone, and I can only do 2x on the Pixel 6 Pro, and I can go back to the regular wide on this one and on the regular wide of that one. But if I want to get access to the ultra wide on the Pixel 6 Pro, I have to be in 4K 30, but on the iPhone I actually have to stop recording, go and change my lens, and then go back in and record in 4K 60. So you can do 4K 60 as it relates to the iPhone on the ultra wide, but you have to stop recording. You can't do it while you're actually recording, which honestly, not that big of a deal. So let's go ahead and change this to 4K 30 and flip it and show you what the ultra wide looks like on both of these. Okay, so now we are on the ultra wide. We are a 0.7x on the Pixel 6 Pro, but on the iPhone, I am actually at a 0.5. So you can see it's a little bit wider of a shot as it relates to the iPhone versus the Pixel 6 Pro. But let's go to the regular wide. Go to the regular wide right now. That's what the ultra wide, that's what the regular wide looks like. Now let's go to 3x zoom on that right there. 2x zoom on the goal that you can see in shot right now. And then you can also do a 4x goal. So we'll go to 4x and you can see the 4x in frame right now, whereas I have to stop at the 3x. I could zoom in if I wanted to on the iPhone, but honestly right there is about 0.45. So that's what you could expect doing the zoomed in telephoto on both of those phones. Now, this is the front-facing camera on the Pixel 6 Pro right there. This is the front-facing camera. I'm a little bit out of screen. Hang on. There we go. On the iPhone 13 Pro. I didn't go with the Pro Max this time. Honestly, I already have a big phone with the Pixel 6 Pro, so I didn't feel like I had the need to have another big phone. So needless to say, the iPhone 13 Pro is, I think, about the perfect size as it relates to the iPhone. Now let's talk about some of the video. Right here, I'm recording on the iPhone 4K 30 frames per second. On the Pixel 6 Pro, I'm recording at 4K 30 frames per second. Now, I can zoom in right now if I wanted to, or just a regular wide shot. Needless to say that the iPhone, I could zoom in if I wanted to, but I don't have that setting. I could do 1.4x in on the Pixel 6 Pro, but I don't really feel like it because I already have a fat enough face, so we don't need to see any more of that than we need. But from a video perspective, the grass is a little less green than what the iPhone is showing right now. The sky definitely sucks because the sky sucks in Ohio right now. So everything that you see from a true to life perspective, both are getting the sky pretty well perfect, because the video, or the photos, or excuse me, the sky itself, I don't know why I keep stumbling over my words, the sky itself is absolutely trash garbage right now. But this green grass that you see right here in both of these phones, not nearly as green. It's more true to life in the Pixel than it is the iPhone. It's a little bit more, let's see, yeah, it's a little more almost comic-y green in the iPhone, but I think I like my skin tones a little bit better. I look a little more rosy in the cheeks, so to speak, on the iPhone, but I'm actually quite pale and I look like this from a Pixel perspective. So here's the next thing that I want to do. Let's take some photos and all of these and just dump them all together so you can see what some of the shots you can get from a photo perspective. I forgot to cut in from a cinematic video perspective. This is actually the cinematic video on the iPhone 13 Pro. I have it on f3.2 right now. You can actually change it all the way up if you want, but it looks a little more natural like this versus like f1.0 or anything like that. So let me change the F. So from a cinematic video perspective, you can see it's on my face. Then it's supposed to go to the pop machine. Hang on, see if I can go to the pop machine, then back to my face, then back to the pop machine, then back to the face. Rack focus is just really, really cool overall. I forgot to cut in and I was taking some photos, so I figured I might as well pop in and show you what cinematic video looks like. Again, nice blurred background. I gotta give it a lot of credit. Cinematic video might be a gimmick, but boy, is it really, really cool. You'll notice one thing about this particular video, I'm not going over any specs or anything like that. You can find the specs on both of these phones talked to death about everywhere on YouTube, and I'm just not gonna do that, but I wanted to do a video and photo comparison so you can see some of the differences. I said it in a tweet, and I'll say it again in this video. Google has a long way to go, still has a long way to go. They have a serviceable 4K 30 frames per second, serviceable 4K 60 frames per second, but when you compare it to the iPhone, it's still a long way away. I still think the Pixel 6 Pro is the device that I am going to constantly use. It's my everyday carry. It is my quote unquote device of the year prior to the December update. But the iPhone 13 Pro, boy, from a video perspective, it is absolutely outstanding. Now, from a photos perspective, there is a reason why a lot of tech YouTubers and now all of a sudden a lot of other individuals are also taking the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro as the device they carry as a secondary device, because in my opinion, and you see it in some of these pictures, it is still the best point and shoot camera that you can put in your pocket at any given time. I absolutely love using it. From a photos perspective, I think the Pixel wins. From a photos portrait perspective, it is still, for me, the Pixel 6 Pro all day long and twice on Sundays. So again, I'm gonna go from a video perspective, I'm gonna give it to the iPhone 13 Pro, which is not really that hard of a sell. But from a photo perspective, I'm gonna go give it to the Pixel 6 Pro as the best point and shoot for the year, and definitely in this comparison video, the best point and shoot that I really liked. I prefer the images out of the Pixel 6 Pro versus the iPhone. Doesn't mean that the iPhone's bad or anything, or any of that stretch of the imagination. Quite the contrary, the iPhone is actually quite good. I just prefer the look as it relates to the photos that come out of the Pixel 6 Pro. So that's it, that's all I have. Thanks for watching, and as always, like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, leave a comment below, and we'll see you next time.